ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. We continue on this 16th day of September, the 16th if I'm not mistaken, 16th, 2019, Wednesday after Maghrib, on this blessed night, Laylatul Mubarakah, 7:15 p.m., which agrees on the Hijri calendar of the 17th night of Safar, the year 1441, after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wassalam. We continue in the chapter speaking about the different types of sihr. Bayan, Bayan anwa' al-sihr, clarifying the different types of magic. We discussed about the belief of superstitions and myths and bad omens, and that the Messenger of Allah in these narrations made them from the types of magic that are prohibited for a person to believe in, or for example, having a belief that they have some type of effect over your life in any type of way. We talked about the meaning of al-iyafa. Al-iyafa was the usage of birds, determining what's going to take place in your life based upon what direction they fly in. And you will find that that was from the ways of Jahiliyyah, from the time of the Arab, before the messengership of the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. As we said, that was from the affairs in which people used to believe had some type of effect over their life, which was the belief in superstitions and myths, whether it be based upon a time, place, or what is seen or heard, or a person. And we talked about, as we will come in the coming chapters, how the people during the time of Prophet Musa, where they deemed him to be some type of bad omen. And they basically were saying that these evil things didn't start occurring until you came. If you'll find in that ayah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, يَطَّيَّرُونَ بِمُوسَى وَمَنْ مَعَهُ أَلَا طَائِرَهُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. There's an ayah you'll find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book. He says, and if some evil had befall them, يَطَّيَّرُونَ بِمُوسَى وَمَنْ مَعَهُ. He said that they find an evil omen with Musa and those who were with him. Meaning that they blame of what was taking place in their lives of evil because of what Musa came with, of revelation. And that they said that these evil things didn't start occurring until you came. So they deemed Musa to be a bad omen. It says, يَطَّيَّرُونَ. They used to deem him to be a bad omen. So that was considered what we just gave an example last week of deeming some person to be a bad omen. If they came, or if a person during the time of the Arab, if he had one eye, or if a person had some type of defect in their body, and they happened to walk by you, then they would think that that was something of an evil omen or a good omen, what have you. And like we said and talked about repeatedly, of course, in the khutbahs last week and before that every country and every nationality has their own superstitions and myths, in which certain are more foolish than others, or certain groups of them, or certain amongst them that are more foolish than other myths that you'll find one is more ridiculous than the other. Especially here in America, I think certain people believe that if birds was to poop on you, or bird poop falls on you, that means good luck or good fortune was going to come to one. If bird poop was to fall on you, then like we said, each myth based upon one's country or nationality or background is more ridiculous than the other. طيب. So you'll find, ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, that the narration where the Prophet ﷺ had mentioned it said, whoever, as it says in the narration, من اقتسب شعبة من النجوم فقد اقتسب شعبة من السحر زاد ما زاد. That whoever acquires a branch of the stars, then they have acquired a branch of magic. And the more he increases in learning it, the more he increases in magic. So here the Messenger of Allah ﷺ is making magic from another type. So we concluded from last class that the types of magic are superstitions and beliefs and omens based upon what is seen, heard, or if it's a person or time or place. All this is considered magic. We said last class that it's considered magic. Why? Because it's based upon something that isn't real. It's baseless. It has no type of haqiqah. There's no reality to it. Meaning it's what? It's takhyili. Or it's what they call, if you want to say that it's takhyili, meaning that it's imaginative, or it's what? It's not imaginative, but astaghfirullah to be late. But takhyili means that it's like what is the type of magic that we mentioned and said from last class? Illusionary. That's not the word I'm looking for. That the myth that the people believe here is takhyili. It's takhyili. I mean, it's imaginative. It's just a figment of one's imagination. It's not real. People think that it has an effect, but in reality, it's nothing behind it. It's something that's not real. It's like the imaginative form of magic, where a person believes that a person sees it as if his head is being cut off, but in actuality, it's just an illusion. It's not real. It's the same thing with these type of what? Beliefs and superstitions and myths. That they're just what? Just a form of one's imagination. It's just imaginative. It's not based upon anything that is real. And that's how you'll find that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ made them in comparison with magic. Also, what is also from magic is the belief that the stars conduct in some type of form or some type of way in one's life. You'll find that they call the knowledge of the stars, as they call it, the ilmun nujum. What they call it, ilmun nujum. That's what the Messenger of Allah is speaking about here. The meaning of the word, if you notice in the hadith of Ibn Abbas, it says, man iqtasab. The word iqtasab means whoever learns. Whoever learns the knowledge of the stars, or branch of the knowledge of the stars. We'll talk about it, inshallah. Whoever learns. Meaning that a person, that if he now acquires some type of shu'bah, if he acquires, and the meaning of shu'bah here, what is the meaning of shu'bah? The word shu'bah means a branch. Means a branch. Shu'bah. So the Messenger of Allah ﷺ is saying, whoever learns a branch of the stars. What is he meaning? That whoever learns the branch of the stars, and this needs to be explained, because a lot of people do not realize what the meaning of stars here. So what is acquired and what is learned? And like we said, what is intended here is not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave as an exception of what the stars are used for, which we'll talk about in a minute. What is prohibited here is what a person will utilize as an evidence that of what the stars and their positions and in their movements is utilized as an evidence to what takes place of current events on the earth or in the dunya. That's what's prohibited. That is what's prohibited. You'll find that Ibn Uthaymin, he mentioned this in this regard when he says this. He says, وَلَيْسَ الْمُرَادِ النُّجُومِ أَنفُسَهَا لأن النجوم لا يمكن تكتسب وتتعلم والمراد به هنا علم النجوم الذي يستدل به على الحوادث الأرضية فيستدل مثلا باقتران النجم الفلاني بالنجم الفلاني على أنه سيحدث كذا. He said, if you look in the hadith, what is intended is not what people would think it is. Whoever, because no one can acquire the stars. Nobody can grab the stars or acquire the stars or learn the stars or what have you. what is intended by it is the knowledge of the stars, or what is used as an evidence of what takes place in this dunya, in this world of current events, or what might take place in one's life individually. So what is utilized as an evidence, where the people say, for example, one star is coupled with another, which means, or it's an indication that such and such event will take place, or such and such will have good fortune, or such and such will have bad fortune, or such and such will have a good love life, or so and so will have a bad love life, or they'll have a lucrative business, to the end of what people believe based upon these type of beliefs. You'll find that some of them used to utilize the stars as an evidence that so and so will be born, or so and so will die. You'll find that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, in narrations which are authentic, he says that الشمس والقمر آيتان من آيات الله لا ينكسفان لموت أحد ولا لحياته. What the Messenger of Allah ﷺ mentioned and said, that he said that the sun and the moon are two signs from the two signs of Allah, and they do not eclipse due to the life of anyone, nor due to the death of anyone. So if you was to see this, meaning the eclipse, he says, then hasten towards the prayer, to the end of the narrations the Messenger of Allah mentioned. So the stars, so based upon what the Messenger of Allah mentioned here, he said that the sun and the moon, as we know, they are stars from what we see on a daily basis. He said they do not eclipse due to the life of anyone, nor due to the death of anyone. So this is an indication that you'll find from the beliefs of people, that they say that the stars, if they eclipse, or if they're in certain positions, or if they're in certain movements, that they say that this is an indication that so-and-so will be born, or that so-and-so will die, or that so-and-so will be wretched, or that so-and-so will be fortunate and be from those who will what? Be from the righteous, or they will be from those who are what? Prosperous in this dunya. Or they'll use it for the opposite, that so-and-so will be what? Wicked, and be from those who are evil. And they utilize this as evidence based upon the certain positions and ahwal, or the conditions of the stars, of what will take place of different types of events. This is what is prohibited. Because all these affairs, they are not known to us, or they are unknown to us. Based upon the stars, it has nothing to do whether something is known or not known, where the stars have no connection whatsoever. And we will talk about in the next narrations which will come, inshaAllah, where the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said in the Hadith al-Qudsi, the Hadith al-Qudsi, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, is from Allah in the meaning and the wording, both. And that's the correct position. The Hadith al-Qudsi, both of them are from Allah. The wording and the meaning, both. We do not say, like the Asha'ira say, that they say that the wording is from the Messenger of Allah, or the wording is from someone else, but however the meaning is from Allah. You'll find that the great A'imma of the past, from the A'imma was Ibn al-Qayyim, al-Jawziyah, that said they are both from Allah. From those ulama that do mention from Ahl Sunnah, you'll find that what is the strongest opinion, that Ahl Ilm have criticized those ulama from Ahl Sunnah that say the Hadith al-Qudsi is from Allah in its wording, or that the Hadith al-Qudsi, is from Allah in its meaning, not its wording. Ahl Sunnah, what is the correct position, just like our Fadilat al-Walid, Shaykh Ubaid al-Jabiri, Hafidullah, and from them is the great Imam, Shaykh Muhammad Amal al-Jami, and from them, before them is Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah. And you will also find in these days and times, what I've heard from my friend and my Shaykh, Arafat al-Muhammadi, Hafidullah, who also mentioned that Hadith al-Qudsi is from Allah in its meaning and its wording, both. That is the correct opinion. You'll find that even our Fadilat al-Walid, Shaykh Ubaid, he even mentioned and said that whoever says that the Hadith al-Qudsi is from Allah in its wording, in its meaning and not in its words, he said that is a tafriq or distinction which started by the Asha'ira. The Asha'ira is the one who gave that distinction. And we, those from Ahl Sunnah who gave this type of definition, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them for their ijtihad, for what they put forth of effort of wanting the truth. But however, that opinion is not correct. And we do not discredit those ulama from Ahl Sunnah who did give this type of definition. We do not speak ill of them or defame them. Because I'm sure that people are going to find this definition in what Shaykh Uthaymeen mentions in some of his books. And we say that the great Imam, Shaykh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, that Ahl Ilm came and they respectfully criticized him. Respectfully. They did not disrespect him. They say, see how ignorant he is or any of the like. They did it with respect and integrity and honor. But we still say that the definition that Shaykh Uthaymeen mentioned in some of his books, you'll find that the great Imam of this past, of today, said that the definition is incorrect. From them who criticized him respectfully was Shaykh Muhammad Aman al-Jami. And from other A'imma. So Shaykh Muhammad Aman al-Jami said, Hadith al-Qudsi is from Allah and its wording and its meaning. Both. You'll find that the meaning of the Asha'ira, their aqidah, where they deviated, especially in the aspect of kalam, they always try to what? Say that Allah does not speak. And if they say that Allah speaks, He speaks metaphorically and it's not real. That is the definition of the Asha'ira, and they say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's speech is kalam nafsi. Speech that is done within Himself and it's not real. It is not real speech that's done with words. That is the definition of the Asha'ira in regards to speech. And if you try to apply that to the definition of saying that Hadith al-Qudsi is from Allah and its meaning, not in its wording, that agrees with what they're upon. That agrees exactly what the Asha'ira are upon. So that's the reason why you'll find the great Imam of the past, and what we said, starting with Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah, that he said speech of Hadith al-Qudsi is from Allah and its wording is meaning both. And you'll find the great Imam Muhammad Aman al-Jami, rahimahullah, also said that is the correct position. He says whoever says that, then they either did not realize that is the position of the Asha'ira who makes the distinction, that the Hadith al-Qudsi is from Allah in its meaning, not in its wording. They did not realize that is the definition of the Asha'ira. And like I said, everyone, I know that certain people are going to read their books of Shaykh Uthaymeen, but you'll find that the A'imma, that they respectfully criticize him in this specific topic here. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? But what is correct is that it's both from Allah. You'll even find, like I said, I heard from Fadilat al-Walid, Shaykh Ubaid, my father, and from my mashayikh, and alhamdulillah, I'm glad to honorably say that he's from my fathers, Shaykh Ubaid, that he said whoever said this has agreed with the Asha'ira, with the correct position that Hadith al-Qudsi is from Allah and its wording and its meaning both. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب, what is this Hadith al-Qudsi which we're speaking about now? You'll find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions a Hadith al-Qudsi that there came upon a morning from my servants who are a believer in me and a disbeliever in the star. And some from amongst the servants of Allah who came upon me disbelieving in me and a believer in the star. As it says in the hadith, أَمَّا الَّذِي قَالْ أَصْبَحْنَا نَزَلَ أَصْبَحَ مُؤْمِن بِي وَكَذَا. As it says, مُطِرْنَا بِنَوْءِ كَذَا وَكَذَا فَذَلِكَ مُؤْمِنُ كَافِرٌ بِي مُؤْمِن بِالْكَوْكَبِ. وَأَمَّا الَّذِي قَالْ مُطِرْنَا بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَرَحْمَتِهِ فَذَلِكَ مُؤْمِن بِي كَافِرٌ بِالْكَوْكَبِ. For the one who says that the stars, or that we was given rain that we were given rain due to the descension of the stars or due to the stars, that is a disbeliever in me and a believer in the star. And the one who says that we were given rain or sustenance of the rain due to Allah and His bounty and His mercy, then that is the believer in me and the believer in me and disbeliever in the star. The point of the matter is that the people here, that they ascribe this type of blessing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is the believer in Allah. And those who ascribe this type of blessing to other than Allah, meaning that something took place of some type of event and they ascribed it to other than Allah, rather it was due to the stars. Notice it said in the hadith that Allah Himself said that that person is a disbeliever in me and a believer in the star. So that clearly shows what, everyone? That ascription or ascribing any type of events to the stars is a type of what? It's a type of disbelief, which we'll talk about inshallah in a moment. It's going to come inshallah. I also found what the brothers were looking for. As people will ask me questions about hypnotism. That is also impermissible. And I have some speech by Sheikh bin Baz, was called At-Tanweem al-Mighnatisi. At-Tanweem al-Mighnatisi, which I'll talk about inshallah, where he said that that's also from a type of magic. I'm going to talk about inshallah. That hypnotism is a form of magic. Hypnotism is a form of magic, which I'll talk about, discuss in a minute. It's going to come. Don't worry. Rather, it's going to come in the next hadith. Because someone asked me the question, is hypnotism permissible? And I said it isn't. Alhamdulillah, I found with the great Imam Ibn Baz that he mentioned in this regard, where he said, At-Tanweem al-Mighnatisi, or hypnotism, is what? Is impermissible, and it's a type of magic. It's a type of magic, which we'll talk about inshallah. Taib. So you notice in the hadith, Allah Ta'ala said that the one who believes that the one who believes that some type of rain descended due to a star and not by Allah Ta'ala, that person is a kafir, disbeliever in Allah and a believer in the star. I just want to put it right there. Taib. The knowledge of the stars breaks down to certain categories, in which we'll get inside a little bit of it in detail in a minute, inshallah. But we'll start by giving this type of introduction. The knowledge of the stars, number one, is what they call ilm al-ta'thir. Ilm al-ta'thir. The knowledge of ta'thir. Ta'thir meaning it has some type of an effect or impact on your life, or influence on your life. Some type of effect or impact or influence on your life. That's called the ilm al-ta'thir, where you utilize the stars based upon their position or their movements in the space or in the heavens of what will occur in this world. Of what will occur in this world. As this is impermissible. Due to what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ mentioned in the hadith that we already just mentioned, if you look in your books. So the meaning of the hadith here of Abu Hurairah, if you look in your books, it means this. It's talking about this type of knowledge. The knowledge of what they call ta'thir. Ta'thir, with a ra at the end of it. Ta'thir. Ta'thir, like we said, ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, where you believe that the stars had some type of influence or impact or some type of effect over your life. That's called ilm ta'thir. That is impermissible. That is batil. That is false and it's invalid and it's baseless. Where you would think that the stars have some type of effect over your life in some type of shape, form, or fashion is impermissible. That's called ilm ta'thir. The knowledge where you believe that the stars has some type of what? Impact or effect over your life. طيب. Then you have what they call ilm al-tasyir. Ilm al-tasyir. The knowledge of a tasyir. tasyir. What's tasyir? Tasyir meaning facilitation. To facilitate something. To make it easy. Tasyir meaning facilitation. Making something easy. Paving the way. And making something easy. And that's when the stars are utilized for directions and times. Is this permissible or not? Is it permissible or not? It is. It's permissible. It's permissible. Due to the fact Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Surah An-Nahl, وَأَلْقَى فِي الْأَرْضِ رَوَاسِيَ أَن تَمِيدَ بِكُمْ وَأَنْهَارًا وَسُبُلًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ وَعَلَامَاتٍ وَبِالنَّجْمِ هُمْ يَهْتَدُونَ. طيب. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in his book in Surah An-Nahl, I can't remember the number of the ayah, but it's on the 3rd page of Surah An-Nahl. It's on the 3rd page of Surah An-Nahl. It's the first ayah on the 3rd page. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, وَأَلْقَى فِي الْأَرْضِ رَوَاسِي أَن تَمِيدَ بِكُمْ وَأَنْهَارًا وَسُبُلًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ وَعَلَامَاتٍ وَبِالنَّجْمِ هُمْ يَهْتَدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, where he says that we have cast in this dunya, rawasi, the mountains which are utilized as pegs to keep the earth firm. He says, an tamida bikum, so the earth will not shake underneath you. Wa anhara, and also the different type of signs that are made on the earth, so you can also utilize them to be guided in the land in your travels. And it says in the same ayah, وَبِالنَّجْمِ هُمْ يَهْتَدُونَ. As it says in the ayah, تَوْرَوَاسِيَ أَن تَمِيدَ بِكُمْ وَأَنْهَارَ وَسُبُلًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ. So they utilize the mountains and the rivers and the different pathways you'll find in the lands. They are utilized as signs, so you can know your way, so you can be guided in your travels and in your journeys. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the heavenly bodies as far as the stars in the heavens. And he says, and by the stars the people are rightly guided, meaning as far as in directions. Meaning what is utilized as directions, the north, the south, the east, the west, to the end of it. That is permissible. So you'll find that the meaning of the ayah, as it says, that the people will utilize this as far as for the directions and the times for the prayers, the times of when certain occasions come in, whether it be for Ramadan or different types of worship, that the stars be utilized in this type of manner is permissible. And this is what we're speaking about. So as far as the ayat in the book of Allah Ta'ala, you'll find that Allah subhanahu jalla fil ula said that learning the stars to be utilized for times and directions without a doubt is permissible. That the belief in the stars as far as what is utilized for something that has an effect over your life of over what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has over your life, that's what's impermissible. And that is connected firmly with the belief in zodiac signs. There's a lot of people believe in this to this day, and they have an effect, and you'll find that the Muslims still believe in this in different countries. And you'll even find in certain Muslim countries where there are writers that write in magazines things pertaining to zodiac signs. And this is all due to the lack of people deeply rooting themselves in the affairs of monotheism and the Tawheed of Allah. Rather, you'll find in a lot of Muslim countries now making war with these type of books. Rather, you'll find in Egypt now they are banning the books of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, and they're trying to rid their country of it. To this day, right now, they're trying to rid themselves, find the books of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, and rid their country of his books. It's saying that his books aids terrorism, where it's the total opposite. Rather, his books fight terrorism. And their country, they're trying to rid their country of the books of Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab. Right now. This book that we're learning, which is educating the people what monotheism is, and clearly making it as clear as the sun in the sky, they're trying to rid their country of it. Have you once flipped any page where we heard takfir or anything claiming a Muslim being kafir, unjustly of course? You have not heard that. Rather, you'll find that the affairs it's speaking about what will nullify Islam based upon what Allah and His Messenger have mentioned of who is a disbeliever if they was to fall into one of these sins that were mentioned here in this book. As we know, the most evil and abominable act is shirk, polytheism, and it will nullify Islam. Polytheism is from the nullifiers of Islam. If you fall into it, Islam is nullified. So the great Imam has to speak on these affairs because they're the most dangerous, because a person will nullify his testimony if he was to fall into one of these matters which we're discussing. طيب. So notice it says in the end of the hadith, Zad ma zad. The more one increases in his knowledge of it, of learning the affairs of what is impermissible about the stars, the more he increases in magic. The more he increases in learning magic. So notice the whole chapter is talking about what, everyone? If you look at the title, what's it talking about? طيب. So now you just seen in the first part of the narration, what does it say? Talking about the birds. Learning about different omens in regards to birds is a type of magic. What's the number 2? Suhail. That's what we just said. What's the second? Pay attention. Pay attention. What's the second, Ahmed? Which we've been talking about in this chapter. We talked about drawing lines on the ground. What's the third? Believe in the myths and superstitions generally. That's the third. The fourth is what? What's another type of magic? The stars. The belief in stars as far as what? Well, you have to be specific. They have any effect on someone's life or events that take place in this world in general, whether it be natural or what they call major catastrophes of wars or death of certain people or the life of certain people, or someone will be born, or someone will die, or there will be a famine, or there will be some type of outbreak that will kill millions of people, or the day of resurrection will take place, or the day of judgment will take place, or there will be a major catastrophe that will happen on certain dates due to this star or due to this type of prediction based upon this certain type of star being this, or the star being this type of position in the sky. All of this, the message of Allah said, it's a type of what? It's a type of what? It's a type of what? It's a type of magic. It's a type of magic. So what's the first type of magic, everyone? There's certain utilizing the birds as some type of belief in regards to bad omens, which was the time of the Arab. This was more prevalent during their times. It is still used in these days. What's the second? Using the lines on the ground. It could be utilized in different ways. As you'll find, like we said, in certain times and certain places, the lines that were drawn on the ground either could be drawn by the foot, or they used to do it by tracks or walking, or they used to draw it, or they used to throw it on the ground or throw stones on the ground. All this goes back to the illah, the reason why it's impermissible. Why is it not permissible, everyone? Because it's what? Why?
No, because it's not real. It's from your imagination.
What's the reason why this is kufr? Why? Because it's claimed to have knowledge of the unseen. Ahsant. Claiming to have knowledge of the unseen. طيب. But these narrations are talking about the one who believes in it. I want everyone to notice that these narrations are talking about people that believe in it, right? Their high level of disbelief, that's just merely for the person who believes in these type of what? Ideologies. How would you think the magnitude of the person would be if he actually is the practitioner of it? The one who actually is the one who's what? Doing the practice of it and predicting it. Do the prediction. He's the one that's doing the predictions. What do you think his magnitude of the sin is? The one who's the actual practitioner of it. The one who's actually saying such and such is going to happen in the future. Or you're Sagittarius, that means you're going to have a bad love life this month. Or that you're a Leo, so that means you're going to have a fortunate, good business this month. The point I'm saying this is saying that if the Prophet ﷺ is talking about in these narrations of the one who believes in it, he's not the actual practitioner of it. How much so do you think of the person that actually comes and predicts and actually says this is going to take place, the level of sin he's going to be upon? You understand? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? You want to call the thing for me, but you already prayed. Don't worry about it. Can you still call for me? تفضل. Go ahead.
Is this the same type of magic that like the witchcraft? Is that a whole different separate thing from magic? The witchcraft the Yahudis was practicing?
That's part of it.
They're running around throwing roots on us?
That's a part of it. That's another type of magic.
Okay, and then lastly, so the opposite of magic is science, correct? Like the permissible form of protecting yourself is science, correct? Like
No, ruqya is not. It's not science. Hold on for 1 second. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي محمد الوسيل الفضيل وبعث مقام محمود الذي وحده. طيب, what was your last question? So we could continue.
I'm essentially asking, when like Musa was protecting himself, and when Rasulullah was protecting himself from, sorry for my ignorance in language.
No, you good.
Kaya,
Ruqya.
That's of course it was permission because they did it.
But it's not called a science. It's called ruqya. Ruqya is like an incantation. Hold on for a second, Suhail.
Okay. So that's what Musa was doing also?
What narration says that Musa was making an incantation?
Okay, but you're not saying it's science.
No, there's nowhere in Kitaab Sunnah where it's called a science. It's not called a science, it's called an incantation. Or it's called supplication. We call it how the Prophet ﷺ called it. Allah's Prophet ﷺ called it supplication. Or the Prophet ﷺ called it incantation or ruqya. But it's a ruqya shar'iyya. It's what's legislated. It's what's legislated. طيب. So the next narration, brothers, we already talked about. These are the type of magic. But notice that in the chapter, the great Imam, that he talked about these different types of magic because certain people don't realize it's magic. We already covered things that's clear from the previous chapter. The previous chapter, we covered affairs that are clear. Then the great Imam branched off, speaking about affairs where people don't perceive that they're magic, but in actuality they are. Is it clear what I'm saying? As far as sorcerers, fortune tellers, soothsayers, that's clear. It was preceded in the previous chapter. That's clear. Here, the great Imam, you'll notice he put a chapter in his book branching off a bit. Why? because certain people don't perceive these affairs to be magic. And he brought narrations affirming that these affairs are connected with types of magic, due to the fact that people claim to have knowledge of the unseen. And we know that the unseen, for those who claim to have knowledge of it, is satanic inspiration. It's satanic inspiration, in which people attain from the shayateen, from the devils, in which they give to their awliya, or those who are close to them. Or we said that it's connected with magic because it's imaginative, or they say what they call takhyili. That is what? It's takhyili, meaning that it's imaginative, or it's something that's illusion. It's an illusion, meaning it's not real. It's not based upon anything. So we said that it's connected with magic because of what I'm mentioning now. Either, number one, like we said, that the people receive knowledge from the devils, from the unseen shayateen. That the people predict certain things. All this is satanic inspiration from the devils, from the unseen shayateen. Or it's connected with affairs which are what? Takhyili. It's connected with affairs that are what? Illusionary. They're not real. It's baseless. It has no effect on anything. It has no help or benefit for yourself in this regard, except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave as an exception, which is to utilize them as directions or times so one can be guided in one's travels or journeys. That's it. No more, no less. So keep it simple. So when you look to the stars, 3 things should come to your mind. We are going to talk about this. It's going to come, inshallah. 3 things should come to your mind. Number one, that the stars are only utilized to decorate the sky, to decorate the heavens. That's it. The stars are only utilized to decorate the heavens. No more, no less. They're also utilized to shoot down the devils. That's going to come. They're also utilized to shoot down the shayateen. And they're only utilized to help one be guided in their journeys and travels. No more, no less. That's all the stars were made for, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed to the Messenger of Allah, in which the Messenger of Allah informed us of why the stars are in the heavens. Whoever goes beyond that, they're going to burden themselves what they have no knowledge of, and they're going to waste their time. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? You'll find that, like we said, especially with all these different types of movies, that Earth is or space is the final frontier, and they're going to be the voyages in which people are going to discover new light. All this is a waste of time. It's a waste of time. The average human being, especially if he's a Muslim, is only going to live to about maybe 50 to 60 years, 60 to 70 years. 60 to 70 years. That's it. So you mean to tell me that you're going to scratch the surface of something in which the Prophet ﷺ had informed, based upon the narrations of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, where he mentioned and said that from one heaven to another is the difference of a 500-year journey. That's just from one heaven to another. Which is to let us know that the mere fact that you tried to so-called even make it to the heavens, that you're not going to, in your lifetime, you're not going to even scratch the surface. In your lifetime. You're not going to even scratch the surface. So the best thing for one to do is just to utilize your life in which Allah and His Messenger had said, which is to actualize the ubudi of Allah. That's it. You were only created to worship of Allah. That's it. No more, no less. You weren't created to be an astronaut, to journey out to millions and millions of miles away. You weren't created for this. Allah put you in this dunya for a short period of time to actualize and cleanse your worship. No more, no less. And to prepare for your meeting with Him. That's no more, no less. That's the only reason why all of us are in this world. We've been created to worship one deity, to actualize the ubudi of Allah, carry out our duties by number one, praying our prayers, doing voluntary prayers in the middle. And if you're able to do night prayers, take care of your children, take care of your wives, go out and handle your daily business with your jobs. That in itself is enough to take up your day. If a person has a job, a person has an abundance of kids, A person is trying to be upright with himself, trying to carry and pray 5 times a day. Pray and even pray voluntary prayers in the middle. Even pray witr at night, trying to do some night prayer, trying to keep himself healthy, keeping his body healthy. Then you try to keep that healthy. Then you're trying to keep your kids healthy. Then you're trying to keep your wife healthy. Then you're trying to keep your family afloat. Then you're trying to the end of it. These obligations that we have on ourselves is enough to take up our day. It's enough. For you doing your ubudiyyah of Allah on a daily basis is a lot every day to do it consistently. That's the reason why I truly don't find where people have the time to go on social media. I don't understand it. I truly don't. I don't even have social media, and I don't even complain about how the day is and how short it is. Of all the different duties I have to do on a daily basis and all the different types of things that a responsible man carries out daily. Not a trifling man, a responsible man. So what would you think that now you would think you would be able to now journey off to the stars? And even to this day, brothers and sisters, like I said, I don't see how people can go on social media. I don't understand. I don't see it. I still don't see how they do it. Unless you are a person that truly knows how to manage your time, I don't see how you do it. Social media, especially how many hours a person will be on it, if they was to count the time on their phone and how many hours they'll be on their phone on a daily basis. Waste so much time. And true men that are responsible that I know, real men truly do not have the time to be on social media like that. Nor do they find time to talk on it, nor do they have time to be making videos on it to the end of it. They do not do it. Social media is destroying the dunya because it's giving a platform for every person to give their opinion, their view on an issue. I remember back in the time when in the 90s and the 80s, not everyone had a platform to speak because not everyone deserves a platform because people just ramp and rave about a bunch of nonsense these days. Now social media has opened the door for everyone to have a platform. Everyone can have a platform, big of a discussing their opinion, their views, and exchanging it. When these things used to be private in our own homes. Now everybody publicizes everything. The point I'm trying to make is, everyone, these affairs of the stars is a waste of time except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger has said they are utilized for. If you go beyond that, you're going to waste your time. You're going to waste your time. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Utilize them with what they're used for. Directions, decorations, and shooting down the devils. That's it. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Jayyid. The next hadith, as it says which comes in Nasa'i. From the hadith of Abu Hurairah, that says, "Man aqada uqdatan, thumma nafatha fiha faqad sahar. ومن سحر فقد أشرك ومن تعلق شيئا وكل إليه." That it says in the narration, whoever ties a knot, then he blows in it, then he has fell into magic. Whoever ties a knot, then he blows into it with some spit, like this. Nafth is like this. You have tefel, you have busaq, and you have nafth in the Arabic language. You have 3 different types. When something they call it tefala, yatfalu. That means to spit. Then you have tanakham. You have tanakham, tafala, basaqa, nafatha. You also have that. You have a lot of different types. Well, tanakhama, I think that sounds clear. When you hog spit, as they say. If it sounds like, listen to the verb, tanakhama. Tanakhama. Ya tanakham. They call it hog spit, as they say, and it's disgusting. Tanakhama. Then you have nafath. Or nafth is what is said here. Nafth is when you blow it with a little bit of saliva that will come out. That's nafth. That's what they call nafth. And that's in the ayah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. And from those, I seek refuge in Allah from those who blow on the knots. نَفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. Notice Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the word that's feminine, naffathat, from the women who blow the knots. Why Allah wa ta'ala talked about female? Not due to the fact that the males is impermissible for them. It's impermissible for the men. However, during the time, especially in the affairs of Jahiliyyah, even today, you'll find that the majority of the people who partake in magic usually are women. Usually you'll find there are women in a lot of cases in regards to men. Even though there are practitioners of magic that are from men, no doubt, nobody's denying that. But especially during the times of the Jahiliyyah, of the times of the Prophet ﷺ and the Arab, the majority of the people used to be involved in magic were women, a lot of them. Especially who used to do the type of spells, they used to what? Tie them in knots and then blow on them. And he used to hurt individuals and innocent people by practicing this type of magic and casting these type of spells, where they would tie the knot and then they would lightly blow on it like this. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? However, as it says in the ayah, if you look in the Quran, it's Surah Al-Falaq, it says naffathat. So it's a female, or it's a woman. It's saying naffathat. So it's saying women that blow the knots. Like we said, the hukum or the ruling here is not just specifically for women. It's for men too. But the reason why it was mentioned here, because it was usually something that was known that women would what? Partake in. Is it clear what I'm saying? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Falaq that you seek refuge in the Lord of the Falaq from those who blow the knots on the what? On the string, who ties it and blows on it. Fine. We also talked about the permissible type of nafth. We talked about the permissible type of nafth. What's the permissible type? The permissible type, brothers and sisters, is if, for example, you're just trying to tie a knot in your shoe. And you just happen to blow on it to make it tight. Is that part of what we're talking about now? No. Is it clear what I'm saying? So if you're just trying to tie a knot, and you're trying to make it strong or stable by blowing on it, putting some spit on it and tying it, that's not what we're speaking about. What we're speaking about, that you're tying a knot and blowing on it in order to cast a spell or practice some type of magic. That's what we're speaking about. That's what's talking about here in this hadith. So it has nothing to do with if you was to tie something in a knot, whether it be for construction, or whether it be for your sneakers, or whether it be in a knot for your clothes, or tying something of a sweater, or what have you. That's not what the hadith is what? Intending. What is intended here is what, everyone? That you're doing it in a form of magic. Type. The permissible type of nafth. Also, number 2. You writing this down? Or are you listening? The second permissible type of nafth is what our brother just mentioned here, which is what they call ruqyah shar'iyyah, what is a permissible legislated incantation. A permissible legislated incantation, which takes place after, usually when the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, before he would go to sleep at night. That sometimes the Messenger of Allah ﷺ would read Surah Al-Ikhlas with the Mu'awwidhatayn, with the Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Al-Nas. He would read them 3 times, and after he would read them 3 times, the Messenger of Allah would ball up his fist like this and spit in it lightly, like this. And he will wipe it over his body as much as he could. That's a form of an incantation that is legislated in Kitaab and Sunnah, in which the Messenger of Allah said it will protect one from magic. It will protect one from magic. However, believing that the protection happens by Allah's permission and it's from Allah, not from the actual incantation itself, but the believer believes that the incantation is just a means to protect yourself, but it is Allah that's giving you the protection. Is it clear what I'm saying? Incantation.
Like the Quran is from the speech of Allah. No?
No. I didn't say spit on your left shoulder. I said that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ used to put his hands together like this, and he used to spit lightly, blow lightly. And then he would wipe his body over as much as he could. And that was what the Messenger of Allah would do after Isha, before he would go to bed sometimes, in order to protect one from magic. Is it clear what I'm saying? But the person has the i'tiqad that the protection is happening by Allah. By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By Allah. And that Allah just made this as a mere means to protect yourself. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? No. Ruqya. Ruqya. Shar'iyya. Ruqya shar'iyya. That is a permissible type of incantation that has in it nafth. That has in it nafth. Is it clear, everyone? Like we said, the protection happens by Allah. And that Allah just made it as a means. The problem is that the people, if you believe that the means is protecting you, certain people will start even believing that the mushaf is protecting them. The pages is protecting you. Your actual book is protecting you. Or the ayats that are hung in your walls protecting you. That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. Is it clear what I'm saying? And you'll find that there are people that believe this. And then you'll find there are Muslims out there that believe this. That they have ayat that's on their wall. Oh, the shayateen won't come in here because the ayats are hung on my wall. Wrong. The ayats in the book of Allah. First you'll find from the Salaf that they never used to decorate their walls with the Quran in their homes. That was something that the Quran was never utilized for. It wasn't used for decoration. That the Quran was not made for tazyeen. It was not made for decoration. It was made for the recitation of it. And if you just put it in your car to recite it, or if you read it, if you read it, or you're trying to memorize it, that's something different. We're not talking about that. We're talking that you have the i'tiqad, belief that if it's here in my car, it's going to ward off some type of evil, the evil eye, some bad luck, some misfortune, some calamity, and that the book is protecting me. That is impermissible, and that's wrong 100%. Is it clear what I'm saying? No.
There are some Muslims who have Islamic decals on their walls like ayat, but they do not believe that it's bringing some type of protection. Is that okay? If they do not believe that it's bringing protection, but it's on their walls as decal. Like they might have...
Is it a calendar?
No. Like they have these new things called decals. You get them from Amazon. You put them on your walls like this is Arabic calligraphy. You put it on your wall. But there are Muslims who have it, but they do not believe that by having it,
It's decoration still.
They call it Islamic decals.
Islamic decals, I never heard of it.
A lot of people have
It's decoration. Still decoration. We wouldn't say it's impermissible, but anything of the signs or the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should not be utilized on one's walls. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Not saying that the person believes or disbelieves or they believe that's going to protect them, but they shouldn't be. That the names of Allah Ta'ala was not utilized, and you'll find in the Salaf that they used to utilize for decoration. They never used to do this. Never. The names or the attributes of Allah or anything. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So if you put the mushaf or the nafth, all these type of affairs is what we're talking about now. And like we said in nafth, the only thing you'll find that the Messenger of Allah used to perform nafth was when he used to sometimes, after Isha, before he would go to sleep, he used to blow in his hands lightly, a light mist. And then he would wipe it over his body as much as he could. After he recited Surah Al-Ikhlas with Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Al-Nas. After he read it 3 times, he would blow lightly in his hands and he would wipe over his body. That was a form of what they call ruqya shar'iyya. Rather, that was to what? Ward off magic and protect one from magic. We save the questions after the class. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Tayyib. Here, what we're talking about is talking about what? Magic. Tayyib. So now we're saying, and what we're speaking about, it says that the one who does this in this manner and he blows it, where he's trying to now perform magic, The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever does this, ties this knot, and he's trying to cast a spell, and he blows on this knot, and he does this type of nefth, where he blows lightly, he says, indeed, he has committed magic. Indeed, he has committed magic. Excuse me, everyone. So like we said, a person now, if a spell was cast upon that person, also we'll get into, inshallah, where you also utilize it as a cure is also impermissible. One cannot utilize falsehood to combat falsehood. Is it clear what I'm saying? That's a general qaida. That's a general principle in Islam. That's general for anything. Whether it be aqeedah, whether it be in minhaj, whether it be in affairs of evil, you can never utilize falsehood to combat falsehood. You can never combat wrong to combat another wrong. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Also in the affairs of magic. In the affairs of magic, it's the same thing. A person would now want to go to a magician in order for a magic to be removed due to the fact that someone else cast another what? Magic upon them. Is that correct, Suhail? If I was to now go to a magician to now, hold on for 1 second. Let me just read the question. A person goes to what they call another magician in order to have another magician's magic removed. Is that permissible or not? It is? It's impermissible. Jayyid. That is a type of chapter which we'll talk about. It's called Nushra. Nushra. That's a whole chapter. That's going to come, don't worry. It's called Nushra. There's another narration where Aisha mentioned to the Prophet ﷺ, which is Bukhari, when the Messenger of Allah, when we discussed this a couple of weeks ago, when the Messenger of Allah ﷺ when magic had affected them, Aisha said a word to him. In another narration, it said, "Hal tanasharta ya Rasulullah? Hal tanashart? Did you practice nushra? Hal tanashart?" The Prophet ﷺ said, "No." He says, "As for my Lord, and He has what? Cured me." To the end of the narration. So, we're going to talk about, there's a chapter that's going to come. The chapter is called Nushra. Nushra means the removal of magic by other magic. That's basically the meaning of it. To remove some magic by utilizing some other magic. Is it clear what I'm saying? Is it permissible? We say what? No. That's what we're going to discuss in a minute. That's going to come, inshallah. So you'll find that the people that they go to these type of magicians and they connect themselves with them, instead of using what is utilized legislatively in the Kitaab and Sunnah, whether it be from those medicines or those cures that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made, legalized for one to what? Partake in, to have magic removed. But if a person was to put their trust in Allah and utilize what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent down as a cure, then that would suffice a person. But rather you'll find that if a person goes to a magician, you'll find that that magician does not increase you except in more what? Weakness, and more turmoil, and more depression, and plunging you in a deeper what? A deeper hole by going to another magician. And it might be removed temporarily. Then it will come back. If you guys remember the narration early that we talked about Kitaab At-Tawheed, maybe about a year ago, you'll find that in the narration of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, with his family, that she had some type of illness, that she resorted to having that sickness removed by some type of polytheism, in which she utilized as some type of band that she wore on herself, or she put something on her body to have that sickness ward off. Until Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, "Did you get some type of relief?" Until he explained why. He said that the shaitan, or the unseen devil that might have been hurting you, when you did that type of polytheism, it might have gave you some type of relief to make you think that it's what? It's working. Then, after some time elapsed, the shaitan came and started harming you again. So you can resort to doing polytheism again, and then he will give you some type of relief where he will what? Relieve you, or he would stop pressing you, or stop hurting you, or stop giving you some type of harm, making you believe that that type of method is actually what? Curing you. But in actuality, it's what? It's just making it worse. Is it clear what I'm saying? And you'll find that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said that the family of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud is free from polytheism to the end of the narration. طيب. So that's the reason why we said that whoever now does this type of magic and then they're connected with it, until it says in this narration, وَمَنْ تَعَلَّقَ شَيْئًا وُكِلَ إِلَيْهِ. Whoever's connected with something, they will be entrusted to it. Whoever's connected with something, meaning their heart is connected with it, they'll be entrusted to it. Meaning, if one is connected with the creation, if his heart is connected with the creation, then he will be entrusted to the creation. Know that you'll be entrusted to something weak and incapable, and something that more than likely will let you down. So this hadith is now comprehensive for the one relying upon Allah Ta'ala, relying upon Him, and even to the point you'll find that Ahl-Ilm say that you should not even be amazed at yourself. Even if you're entrusted to yourself, you'll be destroyed. Even if you're entrusted to yourself, or entrusted to your own intelligence, or entrusted to your own amazement of yourself, you'll be destroyed. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? As you'll find, there are a lot of people out there who are amazed at themselves, amazed at who they are, amazed at where they come from, or amazed at something they might have been given, whether it be worldly, or whether it be something of some type of physical stature, or intelligence, or wealth, or what have you, or what type of how many women they might have had, to the end of it, or might have children. Of the reasons of why certain people become arrogant or amazed at themselves are plenty. There's a lot of reasons. But now you'll find there are people out there that become amazed at themselves due to certain things or certain qualities about themselves they might possess. And then they start to become amazed. And I even mention what Ibn Uthaymin mentioned about this. He says, for who is entrusted to something of the creation, وُكِلَ إِلَى ضَعْفٍ وَعَجْزٍ وَعَوْرَةٍ وَقَدْ يَشْمَلُ الْحَدِيثِ مَنْ اعْتَمَدَ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ وصار معجبا بما يقول ويفعل فإنه يوكل إلى نفسه ويوكل إلى ضعف وعجز وعورة ولهذا ينبغي أن تكون دائما متعلقا بالله في كل أفعالك وأحوالك حتى في أهون الأمور. That he said about this hadith, he says whoever is connected with something, he'll be entrusted to it. Meaning that your heart is tied into that thing, meaning as far as in worship. In worship. We're not talking about natural love or natural liking of certain things or certain things out there, whether it be a food, whether it be a people, what have you. We're not talking about that. We're talking about your heart being tied in with something of worship, we're solely connected with that thing. To the point where he says that if your heart becomes attached to it, he says, and even to the point that you might rely upon yourself until you become amazed at what you say and what you do. You become amazed at what you say and what you do. For verily you will be entrusted to yourself. Verily you will be entrusted to yourself. And we know the Prophet ﷺ mentioned and said, an authentic narration, يا حيو يا قيوم برحمتك استغيث أصلح لي شأني كله ولا تكلني إلى نفسي طرفة عين. There's another narration that says اللهم رحمتك أرجو فلا تكلني إلى نفسي طرفة عين واصلح لي شأني كله لا إله إلا أنت. But the Prophet ﷺ mentioned and said, O Allah, your mercy I hope for, do not entrust me to myself, a blink of an eye, and rectify all my affairs. None has the right to be worshipped except you. How many people make this dua? This dua where you're saying and you're asking Allah never for you to be entrusted to yourself. If you entrust yourself to you've entrusted to yourself, you'll be destroyed. Because one becomes amazed at himself, he becomes destroyed. So here now, what we'll talk about inshallah is going to come. So do not think that now what we're saying you'll be entrusted to certain things, that it's just for the creation outside of yourself. You can even be entrusted to yourself. And you can rely on yourself. And for that reason he says, it is befitting that a person should always be tied in with Allah in all of his actions, in all of his conditions, in all of his circumstance. Even in the most smallest of his affairs. In the most smallest of his affairs. And we say, trust yourself, of course, in regards to the people, no doubt. One should have reliability in himself, no doubt, to a certain extent. So have some type of what? Thiqah, some trustworthiness in himself. To have that type of what? Self-esteem. To push himself to go out and be what? Highly, if you want to say, encouraged to do something. Because certain people are not inspired to do certain things. They don't have good or high aspirations. And you'll find that they're always lazy. Or they always don't want to do anything. They're not inspired, or they have the desire to do certain affairs. We're not talking about that. Rather, you should have those high aspirations to carry out and do certain things all the time. Especially in your dunya and in your religion. Your religion and your dunya. No doubt. However, have that self-esteem about yourself, whereas at the same time your heart is still tied in with Allah. Then go out and seek what Allah Ta'ala helps you to attain of good through the people. Is it clear what I'm saying? Through the people, as far as getting hired with a job, or as far as what you deal with certain people, or as far as trying to go out and learn, or whether it be of trying to attain a job, or learn certain things, or acquire certain knowledge. All that is due from people. People are utilized on a daily basis to attain certain things, whether it be of learning, whether it be of jobs, whether it be of helping you in certain affairs which you don't know, to the end of it. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the people, to make them as a means for each other to help one another, whether it be in their dunya or their deen. However, as far as your heart being tied in with them, meaning that they are the ones that make things happen in your life ultimately, that's not the belief of the mu'min. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? The people are the means, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that makes affairs happen. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? However, one should not ask as much as possible. You shouldn't ask the people as much as possible. Rather, one should what? As much as he's able, we'll talk about this later, not beg. But, like we said, as far as the certain circumstances, which we'll talk about and give details later, one utilizes the people as far as for certain affairs that he needs, as far as in jobs and in learning and things of that nature, but he does not beg. Does not what? Beg. Not beg. That's something different. No. Why do you use magic? Where do you get that from?
Because you say he don't beg, so how do we get there?
You don't go out and get a job?
Oh.
That's what I just said about 5, 6, 7 times. طيب stop. تفضل سهيل, what was your question? تفضل. If you're talking about chemistry and it's based upon knowledge, where people put certain types of formulas together, that's not magic. That's based upon knowledge. That's based upon knowledge of certain things, of hot and heat and cold and certain elements of what is in front of you, which is for affairs what are malmus, or they call mahsus. Things are attained by what people have knowledge of things of the earth, of certain elements and certain things are mixed. Then certain things are going to occur based upon their knowledge of it. That has nothing to do with the unseen. That's something that is seen. You get what I'm saying? So that's not alim al-ghaib. That's alim al-shahada. That's not the affairs of the unseen. That's the affairs of what is seen. So that's pertaining to chemistry. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as the chemistry, like we said, doesn't involve harming yourself or harming others. With studying of science in regards to chemistry, there's nothing wrong with that. If it's like we said, it's going to be something that's beneficial for the people. No, what's another question? That was it. Fadal. I couldn't hear him. What did he say?
He said that the education and learning of stars, he said he's practicing magic. He's learning in school right now about stars. He's not practicing magic.
What type of knowledge in school are they teaching you? I told you guys, and I don't know where your mind sometimes is during the class. Your mind must be lurking. I said, astronomy, you have astrology and astronomy. As far as what they teach you in school, what the kids are forced to learn. If they force you to learn something because of these schools, of course they're going to teach you certain things, but I told everyone in class, be careful. Be careful, because certain beliefs in astronomy does have things which are wrong. There are errors in it. From them is the belief that the sun is still. That's a wrong belief. You understand? If what you're learning in astronomy, that they say this is a North Star, or this is the Little Dipper, or what have you, if they're utilizing to teach you that they're just different names of stars, and they just teach you that in school, and you have to learn it, you learn it to pass the class, and you just say, based upon what modern science say, yes, there's a North Star, there's a West Star. If they're teaching you that to now say that such and such things happen, that's what's impermissible. If they're just telling you that they're just named as different stars because that star is a North Star, that's an East Star, that's a South Star, to me there's nothing wrong with that as long as they're not predicting anything. Is it clear what I'm saying? If they're predicting something that's not permissible, just be careful in astronomy, because they teach you things that are what? That are flawed and they are wrong. They're just absolutely wrong. For example, like we said, they teach you that the sun is still. That's wrong. They teach you the sun is still. That goes against your religion. That goes against what Allah says. Or they teach you that the moon revolves, or the earth moves, or for example, that the moon and the sun is still, and that all the stars revolve around the sun. That's also wrong. Is it clear? That's a polytheistic belief. It's a belief of the pagans. You understand? That they put inside of astronomy. Now what you would do in school is, of course, due to the fact that if you don't learn it and you write with the answer that they want you to, you're going to fail. So you just say in your book, you say in your test, based upon what science of what modern day science says, yeah, this is what it is, such and such and such and such, such and such, that you just basically write down what they taught you. But you ultimately in the back of your mind don't believe that. You understand? You say, based upon modern science, what they say is such and such and such and such and such and such. That's how I will write it. But ultimately, I would say it's a bunch of nonsense. In the back of my mind. Truly. I don't believe that. No.
The hadith that you mentioned about Rasul, the woman, when she put the bandage, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same principle where today people put copper on? I don't know if you know that. People place copper in their skin. And they say out of their mouth, because of the copper, I'm healed. Ever heard that before? People put copper on their pain. They say the copper has extracted the pain. And I know that Allah is the healer, so that there are people today who are placing copper all over their bodies, saying that copper extracted the pain from them. Is that the same principle from the hadith?
People use copper like sleeves and stuff.
Two things. If this copper that they're saying, if you learn the qaida, you understand it. If they saying the copper, if it's something that's connected with medicine, where it has actually been affirmed that it has some type of healing in it, what's been affirmed from talking about from not from soothsayers or fortune tellers, I'm talking about medically. If it's been medically affirmed that it has some type of healing in it, then it can be utilized as a healing. But if they're utilizing it as something that's connected with some type of unseen force or power, that's when it becomes impermissible. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Yes. But if it's connected with some type of unseen force or some type of unseen power, and you believe that the silver is extracting some type of unseen force that is removing the pain by this unseen force based upon some superstition or myth or spell, that's when it's impermissible. All right? But as far as something that's medical, some padding or some type of ankle brace, the person says, like I said, this ankle brace is very beneficial. It helps me heal my foot. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just some type of medical practice. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not what we're talking about. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Like, for example, I take colloidal silver as an antibiotic. It's called colloidal silver. It's a natural antibiotic. Colloidal silver. I take it. It's a medical affirmed antibiotic. But it's natural. It's colloidal silver. You put it under your tongue, you squeeze it. It's used as an antibiotic. Especially in these days, you need to use it when the weather's changing. I haven't bought some because it's expensive. It's about maybe $20 to $30 just for a little bottle this big. It's about $30, maybe $20, $30. Some of them are about $40. You can use it on a regular. Put it under your tongue. It's used. The people in the army used to use it, especially people who are Navy SEALs. People who usually do some real crazy things with their body, and they used to use colloidal silver to build their immune system, make it extremely strong. It's a natural antibiotic. It's called colloidal silver, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's medically been approved to show that it has some benefits for your body.
How do you spell that? Like the soda, like colloidal soda?
Silver.
Oh, silver.
Colloidal silver. Silver. Any other questions about the lessons? Because we got to pray and we got to leave. Tafadal.
Knowledge facilitation, what's the Arabic term?
Tasyir. Ta, sin, ya, ra. Ta, sin, ya, ra. Last thing, we got to close out, Suhail. What about it? What's the last one? These affairs, brothers and sisters, are very, very, very important. You find a lot of Muslims out there that are, the most people that I see that fall in these affairs are the people who are upon inhiraf, upon deviation from those deviant sects of the masajid, because they don't teach their followers none of these matters. They don't teach it to them. That's why you'll find that they fall into it. Majority of masajid, especially the best masajid, are upon deviance from the ikhwanis. And the other masajid, Sufis or what have you, they don't teach none of their followers these principles. So if they don't teach them, then more than likely you're going to what? You're going to fall into it. Because they don't have no knowledge of it. So they're going to fall into it. So that's the reason why we said these are very important to discuss and make sure that you have some knowledge of it so you do not fall into it. As far as colloidal silver, you could order it online, or I think you could go in some organic markets. I think Whole Foods has it. But I think they have another place called Mama's Organic. They just built it. It's called Mom's Organic Store, what have you. You could buy colloidal silver from there, but it's very expensive. I have to buy some. I ran out. I have to get some more. But it's a natural antibiotic that you can use to build the immune system. All right. Like wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Finish. I think he doesn't have his sleep.